I love it. I love it. I love it. Look at this. This is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Hey, I'm not surprised.
Hey, what's good, my homies? Hope you're doing well, feeling blessed, having a good day, having a good week. This weekend, we've got Gabriel Bonfim versus Randy Brown in the main event. And guys, this card's going to be very difficult to make picks on. So many coin flip matchups on this card. In my opinion, this one's like playing the prediction game on legendary mode. Now, as for my bets last weekend, I did make some profit on the card, just under a unit profit. And Yadier Del Valle is one of the main reasons why I made profit on my last card. I had a half unit bet on Yadier Del Valle at plus 225 before the line moved. Now, obviously, I didn't know the fight was rigged. I didn't know that. But even if the fight was real, plus 225 on Yadier Del Valle, that was always the value side. But we didn't get to see a real fight. We saw a rigged fight. And hopefully, we don't see any more of those fights this year or any year. But guys, I have to be real. I have to be honest. So many times this year, I felt we've watched a rigged fight. I really believe that. Anyways, guys, let's break down the fights. Let's make some predictions. And as always, you can find my bets over on the Patreon. The link will be posted in the description below or the pinned comment. All right, guys, let's go. First matchup, we've got Jackson McVey taking on Zach Reese. And my first prediction on this card has to be Zach Reese. Even on short notice, I'm picking Zach Reese to win the fight. Now, Jackson McVey does have some sneaky good jiu-jitsu, but he's very inexperienced. He's only had 7 professional fights and he's never been past round 1 as a professional. As for Zach Reese, he's taken the fight on super short notice, which is a good thing and also a bad thing. It's a good thing because he's saving a fight on the card. But from a gambling perspective, you don't want to be risking your money on a fighter that's showing up on super short notice. But if you guys said to me, you have to bet this fight, you have to put money on this matchup, I would still lean towards Zach Reese because he's way more experienced than Jackson McVey. So my prediction is going to be Zach Reese with a KO TKO past round 1. Next matchup, we've got Miles Johns taking on Daniel Marcos. And this is a super good matchup early on the card. Miles Johns is a UFC veteran at this point. He's had 11 fights with the promotion over 6 years. He's primarily a wrestler, but doesn't just rely on his wrestling to win fights. He's got decent power. His technique has never been the best, but he's pretty dangerous at throwing powerful overhands and powerful hooks. He's also got a pretty heavy calf kick that he likes to throw. And I wouldn't describe him as a pure striker or anything like that, but he's definitely shown some good effective striking at times in his UFC career. Now, as for Daniel Marcos, he's definitely the superior technical striker. Very nice footwork, excellent range management, and he's very calm in the stand-up. So if the matchup stays on the feet, you'd have to favour Daniel Marcos to win the fight. I do think Miles Johns can do okay on the feet, but I don't see him outclassing Daniel Marcos. I don't see him finding knockdowns. I don't see him finding a stoppage on the feet. If you're Miles Johns, the game plan should be wrestle the opponent. Try to wrestle the opponent to get your hand raised this weekend. Don't just wrestle for 1 round, then abandon the wrestling. Stay persistent with the right game plan. Stay persistent with the wrestling. So guys, my prediction has to be Daniel Marcos because I don't trust Miles Johns to stay persistent with the wrestling game plan. And I'm not sure if that's because the UFC doesn't like it when fighters put on boring performances. There's a majority opinion within the UFC fan base that if you only wrestle in your fights, if you only wrestle in your performances, then you're putting on a boring fight. You're putting on a boring performance. And that's maybe why Miles Johns doesn't stay persistent with his wrestling. And that's why I have to pick against Miles Johns. I have to pick Daniel Marcos to win the fight. He's the sharper kickboxer, the technically superior kickboxer that probably outclasses Miles Johns on the feet in at least 2 of these rounds because, like I say, Miles Johns probably spends 2 rounds on the feet in this fight. So I'm going to pick Daniel Marcos to win the fight 29-28 on the judges' scorecards. Next matchup, we've got Tecia Pennington taking on Denise Gomes. And this is a super tough prediction to make. It really is. With Tecia Pennington, we know what to expect though. We're getting an absolute veteran. We're getting a fighter that has amazing footwork. Even late into her career at 36 years old, she's so good at moving around the octagon. Her footwork's so good. She's super fast with all the strikes she's throwing, the kicks, the punches. She's super fast and she's so experienced. This will be Tecia's 19th UFC fight and you can't buy experience like that. She's a true veteran and a tough fight for any opponent. However, guys, Denise Gomes is 11 years younger than Tecia Torres. She's not got the same level of experience, but Denise Gomes is slowly improving fight by fight. And Denise Gomes has defied the odds on multiple occasions. She was a plus 140 against Bruno Brazil. She won that fight. She was a plus 300 against Jasmine Harrogate. She won that fight. She was a plus 170 against Eduarda Mora. She won that fight. So Denise Gomes is pretty good in that underdog role. However, she's not an underdog in this fight. She's a minus 170 favourite. And the last time she fought against a veteran, it was against Angela Hill in Brazil. And she failed in that fight. She lost in Brazil. So she's now getting a second opportunity at going up against a veteran. She won her last 3 fights. So she's on a 3-fight win streak. And she's always shown to have good punching power. There's definitely a power difference between Denise Gomes and Tecia Torres. And that for me is probably the deciding factor in this fight. I think when Denise Gomes finds the target with her punches, those punches are going to carry way more power than Tecia Torres. So I'm going to pick Denise Gomes to win this fight against a veteran. I wouldn't be shocked if Tecia Torres won because there's so many underdogs in women's mixed martial arts. But I feel like if Denise Gomes is going to advance her career, if she's going to progress through the weight class, through the division, winning against that veteran would have to be part of the process. Like I say, the last time she fought against a veteran, she lost. It was against Angela Hill in Brazil. Since then, she's won 3 fights in a row. Now she's getting that second opportunity against a veteran. And I just feel that she's maybe catching Tecia Torres at the right time. There's more power in the punches of Denise Gomes. So my prediction has to be a very close scorecard, but I lean towards the Brazilian, Denise Gomes. Next matchup, we've got Josh Hokit taking on Max Gimenis. So Josh Hokit, for anyone that doesn't know, is the Colby character from Dana White's Contender Series. Basically, he's going to say some wild stuff on the mic after he wins this weekend. And I can't wait to hear it. For some people, they don't like that outlandish character. But I can't wait to hear it, man. You know what Josh Hokit's going to say is going to be scripted. It's going to be very scripted, but I still think it's going to be funny. You know what I'm saying? So even though he's got it prepared, even though he's, practiced his lines at what he's going to say, it's still going to be funny. So yeah, I do believe Josh Hokit does win this weekend. And his opponent is a pretty good jiu-jitsu player. His opponent has good jiu-jitsu. So there is a chance that Max Gimenis pulls off that submission. But there's also a chance that any submission fighter finds a submission. But I do think Josh Hokit is the better wrestler. I think he's got the better ground and pound, and I think he's going to win this weekend. And after he wins, like I say, he's going to jump on the mic and say some wild stuff. He's going to say some crazy things on the mic. Next matchup, we've got Mayra Bueno Silva taking on Jaqueline Cavalcanti. Guys, literally all week I've considered making Mayra Bueno Silva one of my plus money predictions, one of my underdog winners. Literally all week I was like, maybe Mayra Bueno Silva wins as a plus 200 underdog. Maybe she breaks that losing streak. But the more I think about the fight, the more I'm like, she probably won't though. She probably won't. And there is things to like on the Mayra Bueno Silva side. She has more experience than Cavalcanti. She has more power in her hands compared to Cavalcanti. She has the better jiu-jitsu, the better wrestling. So the power, the experience, the grappling, all on the side of the plus 200 underdog. However, guys, Cavalcanti is a pure technician. She's going to move around the octagon, land a bunch of strikes, and her strikes aren't the most powerful. Whereas Mayra Bueno Silva, she has the ability to land massive low kicks and massive punches. I'm kind of talking myself out of the Cavalcanti play or prediction. Man, there's a lot to like with Mayra Bueno Silva. And Cavalcanti went to a split decision with Josiane Nunes. She went to a split with Nora Canol. So it's not like she's winning super dominant performances. You know what though? My deciding factor for this matchup is going to be the fact that Cavalcanti is 6 years younger than Mayra Bueno Silva. She's slightly taller. She's slightly longer. So I'm going to say she wins a very, very close scorecard, a 29-28. And I think she's catching Mayra Bueno Silva at the perfect time. So I'm going to say that past round 1, Mayra slows down. She's going to slow down past round 1. And Cavalcanti is going to land the output. She's going to pick her apart from the outside. I'm going to say 29-28 on the side of Jaqueline Cavalcanti. Ricky Simone taking on Hyder Barcelos. A super, super tough matchup to predict. A super good matchup here. And I'll tell you why it's such a tough matchup to make a prediction on or a bet on. Raoni Barcelos is super skillful. He's a high-level black belt on the ground. He's got excellent Muay Thai striking in the stand-up. Nice low kicks, nice body kicks. He's got crispy boxing skill, still late into his career at 38 years old. However, his cardio is pretty bad, especially against someone who's going to push the pace, especially against someone who has elite cardio. Ricky Simón is like the American version of Merab Dvalishvili. He's like the Wish version. The heart of a Mexican, the wrestling of an American. Ricky Simón is a problem. Ricky Simón has amazing cardio, amazing wrestling, and he always fights at a really good pace over 15 minutes. And I'm sure he's looking to arrest Raoni Barcelos. For anyone that doesn't know, Ricky Simón in his last fight told Cameron Smotherman in the clinch against the fence, he told him, "You're under arrest." And Cameron Smotherman told Ricky Simón, "Hey, that's racist. That's racist." But that's not racist, man, because Ricky Simón will arrest anyone. It doesn't matter if you're black or white. Ricky Simón will arrest any opponent against the fence or on the ground. And I kind of think he's going to do the same thing this weekend to Raoni Barcelos. I think Raoni probably wins round 1, but then Ricky starts to find success. He starts to push Raoni against the fence. Then in round 3, I really think he's going to arrest Raoni Barcelos. Look for solid control against the fence or on the ground. I'm going with a 29-28 scorecard on the side of Ricky, you're under arrest, Simón. Jamall Emmers taking on Hyder Amil, another very tough matchup to predict on this card. Now, Jamall Emmers is a veteran. He's had way more fights than Hyder Amil, but he hasn't really done that well in his UFC career. Jamall Emmers has a 4-4 UFC record, and he's got a yo-yo win-loss record. This is all of his 8 UFC wins. Loss, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss, win. So based on that pattern, he's going to have a loss this weekend. Now, guys, here's the thing. Hyder Amil is so relentless. He's always marching forward, always throwing a super high output, always being so aggressive in his performances. Now, he did get badly knocked out by Jose Delgado, so maybe it's a concern to bet on Hyder Amil coming back from such an early knockout stoppage. But in my opinion, I think he's going to eventually break Jamall Emmers in this fight. Jamall Emmers is 36 years old. Hyder Amil is 35. But in fight mileage, Hyder Amil is a young 35, whereas Jamall Emmers is a tough 36. I just think that hurricane style, that relentless pressure, that relentless aggression from Hyder Amil is going to eventually break Jamall Emmers late in this fight. Maybe not in round 1, maybe not for the first 2 minutes of round 2, but I think eventually that non-stop pressure of Hyder Amil, that non-stop cardio, that aggression, it's going to break the veteran Jamall Emmers. So I'm going to say Hyder Amil with a late KO TKO. Next matchup, we've got Marco Tulio taking on Christian Leroy Duncan, aka CLD. And we've arrived at my first underdog prediction on this card. And I know a lot of people will probably disagree with this prediction because Marco Tulio is super dangerous. But I think CLD is one of the more justifiable underdogs on this card. He's super athletic. He's got more UFC experience than Marco Tulio. He's in good form currently, winning 4 of his last 5 UFC fights. And I think he's doing the basics better and better. Certainly better than what he was doing at the start of his UFC career. If you look at the start of his career, he was doing a lot of jumping attacks, spinning attacks. He would try these crazy techniques so much in his performances. And maybe he tries a few of those this weekend against Marco Tulio. But I think for the most part, he's going to keep it basic. Throw the low kick, throw the jab, throw the body kick. He needs to stick to the basics in this fight, and I think he will. As for Marco Tulio, you won't see Marco Tulio doing a lot of spinning attacks or jumping attacks. He's a very traditional striker, and a super dangerous fighter is Marco Tulio. He's got heavy knockout power, and he's got good technical striking. But for me, guys, I'm going to pick CLD as the underdog in this fight. I just feel that the UFC experience, the form of CLD, the confidence, the momentum. Look at the way he dusted Eric Anders. He destroyed Eric Anders. And I know a lot of people will say, well, that was Eric Anders. He's not good. He's right at the end of his UFC career. But I just feel the striking, the momentum, the confidence. It's all on the side of CLD. And he's plus money in this fight. So yeah, I do lean towards CLD as a potential plus money winner. Next matchup, we've got Ismael Bonfim taking on Chris Taco Padilla. A super good matchup this weekend with this fight. Here's the facts, guys. Chris Padilla is 3-0 in the UFC, and all 3 of those wins are plus money underdog wins. He was a plus 340 against James Yuntop in his debut. He wins that fight. He was a plus 200 against Rong Zhu. He wins that fight. He was a plus 110 against Jai Herbert. He wins that fight. So for anyone that likes proven underdog winners, Chris Padilla is that guy. And I don't need to tell any hardcore UFC fan, they already know Chris Padilla has some of the most violent elbow strikes in the sport. Every time he weighs in, he's always pointing to his elbow. You can go check the weigh-ins. He's probably doing the same thing this weekend. He's always pointing to his elbow, basically saying, watch these elbows on Saturday night. I'm going to land the elbow. And he has nasty elbows, man. He really does. And I was kind of disappointed with his last performance against Jai Herbert. I picked him to win as a plus 110, and he just about got it done. But man, the performance, it kind of lacked urgency, in my opinion. As for Ismael Bonfim, he's quite small for the weight class. He's like 5'7", 5'8", but he's a pretty nasty boxer. Never forget his flying knee dusteration against Terrence McKinney in his debut in Brazil. He's a solid boxer, he really is. And he was doing pretty well against Nazim Salikhov before things went pretty badly towards the end of round 1. Now, guys, there is a possibility that Bonfim is winning most of this fight. He's winning the fight, and then suddenly Chris Padilla lands a fight-ending elbow or fight-changing elbow out of nowhere, Randy Orton style. And at that point, the fight could completely flip. However, there's also a chance that doesn't happen, and Bonfim just puts on a nice boxing display and is able to hand Chris Padilla his first UFC loss. I'll say this, guys, if Chris Padilla wins again as the underdog, that would be 4 wins in a row as the plus money underdog, which is crazy work, especially at the highest level of mixed martial arts, especially in the UFC. But my prediction is going to be Ismael Bonfim. I think he's the sharper boxer. He's not got the sharper elbows. There's not many in the sport that have sharper elbows than Chris Taco Padilla, but I do think Bonfim puts on a nice boxing display this weekend, handing Chris Padilla his first UFC loss. Next matchup, we've got Muslim Salikhov taking on Uros Medic. And this one's simple. This one's very simple. Who's getting knocked out? Who's getting dusted? Who's getting sent to a galaxy far, far away? Who's going to Shadow City? My gut instinct says if we get a round 1 stoppage, it's because Muslim Salikhov has brutally knocked out Uros Medic and sent him to another galaxy. If we get a round 2 stoppage, I think it's because Muslim Salikhov has kind of slowed down past round 1 and Uros Medic has just about beaten him to the punch, like a millisecond quicker than Muslim Salikhov in round 2, which results in a Uros Medic round 2 KO TKO. Now, Muslim Salikhov is by far the more credentialed striker, but then again, how many times have Muslim Salikhov gone into a UFC fight against someone who's more credentialed as a striker? Not that many times. Muslim Salikhov is a 5 times Wushu Sanda champion. He's the king of Kung Fu. He's a kickboxing legend. And even at 41 years old, he's one of the most dangerous strikers on the planet. However, guys, I do believe fighting is a young man's game still. And if the fight gets extended past round 1, I believe Uros Medic has devastating boxing speed. And speed kills. So does perfectly timed wheel kicks by Muslim Salikhov. Those techniques also kill. Someone's getting dusted, man. Someone's getting sent to another galaxy. Gun to the head. M16A4 from COD 4, 2007. My prediction is going to be Uros Medic. I just can't confidently pick Muslim Salikhov at 41 years old. I understand he's one of the best 41-year-old strikers you'll ever see in your life, but he's still 41 years old. And if you get halfway into round 2 against Muslim Salikhov, he starts to kind of look 41 years old. So I guess my advice to Uros Medic, even though I'm not his coach, my advice would still be extend the fight past round 1. No need to rush in round 1. No need to get in the face of Muslim Salikhov straight away, the same way Carlos Leal did. Because look what happened to Carlos Leal in round 1. He tries to press the action and he gets sparked. He gets dusted. So I'd say to Uros Medic, play the striking chess match. Give Muslim Salikhov that striking chess match in round 1. Then in round 2, take more chances, take more risk. Go for the kill in round 2 as Muslim Salikhov starts to slow down, starts to become a little slower to the punch. So my prediction is going to be Uros Medic, but don't blink. Guys, don't blink because someone is going to need a medic. The co-main event, we've got Matt Schnell taking on Joseph Morales. And guys, I have to say, that last performance of Joseph Morales was spectacular. His last performance was so high level. I loved everything about that performance. And I had a bet on the opponent. Morales in that fight was on the pressure straight away. He was boxing so nicely. He was wrestling against the fence. He was getting takedowns. He was out grappling his opponent. Everything about that performance was so high level. And I think if Joseph Morales could just copy and paste that exact performance into this fight, he would be a lock on this card. He would be my lock. Now, as of right now, I've got 2 bets locked in over on the Patreon, and I'm probably going to add Joseph Morales to a 2-leg parlay because I was so impressed with that last fight. Everything about the performance, the boxing, the wrestling, the grappling, the pressure, the power, the confidence, everything was so good. And the opponent match now is a super experienced flyweight, but he's always had a glass chin. He's always had a chin made of pure dust. And Match now has nice boxing. His boxing's very good. His grappling's good. His wrestling's good. You're not going to teach anything new to Match now at this point. He can do it all. But I'm not sure how he's going to outclass or outwork Joseph Morales. And like I say, Match now, his chin, it cannot be trusted. His chin is made of glass. So when I think about the grappling, I see Joseph Morales finding a way to win. When I think about the wrestling, I see Joseph Morales scoring. When I think about the striking, yeah, Match now is okay on the feet, but his chin's a liability. So I see Joseph Morales finding a way to win on the feet. I just think if Joseph Morales could copy and paste his last performance into this fight, he's a lock. I'm telling you guys. So my prediction is going to be Joseph Morales to get it done. The main event, we've got Randy Rude Boy Brown versus Gabriel Bonfim. Super good matchmaking here, and I'd have to say it's a tough matchup to make a prediction on, but I'd also say it's an easy matchup to break down. So with Gabriel Bonfim, we have someone that has elite Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's definitely capable of submitting Randy Brown in round 1 or round 2, maybe past round 2, but more than likely it's a round 1 or round 2 submission on the side of Gabriel Bonfim. However, guys, if we go past round 2, that's where Gabriel Bonfim has shown to have really bad cardio, and that's a problem in a 5-round fight. Bonfim just doesn't have 5-round cardio. He's not a 5-round fighter. So there's a chance Randy Brown puts on a boxing masterclass after the 2nd round, and you have to remember that Randy Brown has so much high-level experience. You also have to remember that Randy Brown has high-level boxing. He's so good with his straight punches. He's good with his jab. He's capable of getting nasty knockdowns or nasty KOs. So guys, does the main event go to full 25 minutes? Absolutely not. Someone's going to get dusted at some point in this main event. So in my opinion, guys, the options are Bonfim round 1, Bonfim round 2, or Randy Brown round 3, round 4. I don't think we're going to see round 5, but if we do see a round 5, you can almost certainly guarantee that Bonfim is going to be a sitting duck dead in the water by round 5. So you'd have to favour a round 5 finish more to the side of Randy Brown than Bonfim. So for me, guys, if we go past round 2, the underdog Randy Brown is super live to win the main event. We've seen Gabriel Bonfim get tired more than once. You just have to be there after 10 minutes. Now that may be very difficult because Bonfim is so dangerous with the guillotine choke. If he gets a round 1 takedown, there's certainly a chance he gets a round 1 submission, and I'm sure the bookmaker will be wise to keep that round 1 submission prop from getting too high on the number. But like I say, if we go past round 2, it's underdog city potentially in the main event. So I'm going to pick Randy Brown to win the main event with a KO past the 2nd round. But like I say, if Bonfim gets an early takedown, then it's a submission on the side of Bonfim. It's either we go past round 2 and Randy Brown shows to be the value side, the right side, or it's going to be Gabriel Bonfim puts together his strikes nice and early in round 1, gets a takedown and finds a submission against Randy Brown nice and early. My prediction though is going to be Randy Brown, the plus money side, the underdog side, to win the fight if he gets past round 2. And I think he will get past round 2. So I'm siding with Randy Brown. As always, my homies, drop down your main event, your co-main event, your single bets, your parlays, your Money City parlays, all that good stuff. Drop in the comment section below. And as always, keep your eyes to the sky, never glued to your shoes. Peace.